Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Mondays, or not so happy Mondays, depending on your mood this morning. 6th of January, Man United yet to make a January transfer. An important time of the season if clubs can utilise it correctly. And today we're going to be going into the signings I think Man United need to make this month if we are going to have somewhat of a successful season. Guys, before we go any further, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, share this video and follow us on all the social medias. What players do Man United need? What players do Man United need? At times, it seems like the easier question, the simpler question, the one with a shorter answer might actually be what players don't we need? What positions don't we need filled? It's been poor. It's been poor this season. It's been poor, the last summer. The summer gone. Transfer window, very, very poor. I mean, we got some good signings, but in reality, for what we actually needed and what we let go, we didn't strengthen where we needed to. Or we didn't completely strengthen in all the areas. Some areas we did. Defence, yes, sorted. I say sorted, it can still get a bit stronger, but in terms of priority positions, defence, that was good. But in attack and in midfield, we didn't touch it. In terms of incomings, outgoings, yeah, we got rid of a number of players. So it's left our club, our squad very, very thin in numbers, in quality, and it's shown up this season, none more so than the last couple weeks where we've lost, again, Pogba to injury, and now McTominay to injury as well. I do wonder if those injuries haven't occurred, would the club be in for a midfielder this winter? Of course, the rumours would always be there now. I'm doing a bit of a thread on all the names of all the players we're being linked with in this January transfer window. The reality is our name gets added and called and next to every available player, or even not so available player. They look at a position Man United need, find a name that's out there that will generate some traction, or any old name, to be honest, and we're going to go into some of them. And it either gets fans excited about incomings or get very annoyed that those players don't come in. Sometimes we were never into for those players in the first place. We look at the whole Bruno Fernandes saga in the summer. Who actually really knows? Some people claim they know, they're in the know, but who really knows? Whether we were in for them. Edward and Ollie would know, of course. Ollie says we weren't. I mean, I'm not going to be here and disagreeing with. I have no facts to suggest otherwise. But if we're not in for him, the question is why? Why are we not in for him? But we go in. As a matter of fact, that's one of the players that is still being linked with us, and not a move in this January transfer window. In terms of positions, left back is a position we do need to strengthen. I would say, obviously, midfield, we know that for a fact. And on the wings, I would also agree. Some may say we need other options up front. For me, it's not a priority in any way, shape or form. If the right player comes along, whether it's a very experienced player or a very young player of great potential, yes, you want to be in the market and in position to sign that person. You know, names like Mandzukic were touted about, and I understand that. And also Erling I don't know how you say his middle name, but Erling Haaland from RB Salzburg. Well, Mandzukic's gone off to China, I believe it is, and Haaland's gone to Dortmund. So that position, for those two players anyway, from reports, they didn't materialise into any signings. We know for a fact we were definitely in for Haaland. That's no doubt about it. Ollie has spoken about it, but he's chosen Dortmund, and as I said in the past, for me, it's the right decision for his career. for a multitude of reasons. But for me, it's much do about nothing for me, because for me it's not a position that's a priority. We have Martial, we have Rashford. I know he's not a number 9 per se, and we have Greenwood. We can get all the strikers in the world, but if we're not providing them and creating chances for them, we're still going to struggle. We're going to struggle big time. It will alleviate some of the pressure, or enable us to have other options in terms of scoring goals, but the main issue, which is the creativity and the of chances, creating of chances, it's still going to be a massive issue. And that's the area we need to strengthen. That is the area we need to be looking at. So we sorted out the defence up to a point. Midfield is a gaping hole in terms of quality and numbers. We let Herrera go. We let Fellaini go. Pogba could be on his way at any point. We really don't know. And Matic is not getting any younger. I mean, nobody gets any younger, but he's on the decline. He's really on the decline. And the quality of the likes of Andres Pereira, Lingard, and Juan Mata is just not there. It's not there at all. So, for me, that's definitely an area we need to strengthen. And I'm going to start off with... Now, this video, actually, it was going to be mainly about Christian Eriksen. But there's been some tricky news out there in the media about that he has agreed, or is on the verge of agreeing a deal to join Inter Milan for £20 million in this January transfer window. Of course, we know his contract is up at the end of the season, which means that he can sign a pre-contract with any non-English club to join at the end of the year. But if a club agrees a fee with Spurs, he can leave in this month. Will Spurs want to let him go for free? Probably not. We know how Daniel Levy is when it comes to money. So if they can get some kind of fee for him, I'm sure they would be happy to do it. And his performances in the last, year and a half, haven't been great. It's been that of a player wanting to leave. So you're better probably to cut your losses and get some kind of money for him than spend another 6 months with him, not getting the performances you want, and still get nothing for him at the end. So I do expect him to leave in this January transfer window. As I said, the reports are that Inter Milan has agreed a fee, and you have to weigh up for him. If you're going to choose between Man United and Inter Milan, who would you go for at this stage? Inter Milan look like a club going places. They're fighting for Serie A. I know they've been knocked out of the Champions League. Maybe they could do with a player like Eriksen, but they're still in the Europa League, which is the competition Man United only qualified for, so we're in no better position there. Why would he choose Manchester United? The only reason he would choose Man United, I would think, there's probably 3 reasons why he would choose Man United over Inter Milan. If he wanted to remain in the Premier League, if he was more interested in how much he can earn, or the amount we offered him was enough to sway him, or if he was somewhat a boyhood Man United fan. Now, the other option, theoretically speaking, would be if he believed in the project and the vision of the club. But the question has to be asked, what is the project? What is the vision of the club? And if I'm struggling as a fan to answer that, if Eriksen can't answer that, I can't get the answers for that, I would not be surprised at all. It wouldn't. For me, there's a lack of vision. There's a lack of direction. And which player wants to join that, especially when there is another option on the table? Working with a manager like Antonio Conte, a proven manager at that level, and quality players in that squad. So, me, I would love Eriksen. I would love Eriksen. At this stage, when you sign someone in January, if you want an impact in the current season, the things you're looking at are probably experience, one, and in terms of age, and Premier League experience, or whatever club you are talking about, whatever league they are in. because it's very hard for someone to come in January from abroad, having no experience of playing in the Premier League, which is vastly different to many and every other league in fact, and make a massive impact in that current season without no pre-season training, etc., etc. Especially when it comes to young players, there's even more elements of that. We've had some good January signings. Obviously, we know Evra and Vidic are two of our biggest, but they didn't really hit the ground running until the season after. So, which tells me a lot about when you get a January signing. Henrik Larson was one for me where he came in, made an impact. It was only a loan, a short-term loan, but he made a very big impact in that little time. And I think that comes from experience. He hasn't played in the Premier League before. He had played for Celtic in the Scottish League, of course. He had played for Barcelona. He obviously played international football for Sweden. And you kind of, I guess, from the different styles of football, the different opponents you're playing against, different teammates you have, there's certain things you can pick up which allows you to it's easier for you to adapt to a different style of play, a different league, different teammates in a very short period of time. If we want someone to make an impact this season, the second half of the season, for me, has to be a Premier League player. Has to be a Premier League player. If we're being realistic. Eriksen's one for me. 27 years old. He's not nowhere. I would say, in terms of his age, he's not past his best. Of course, on the pitch is where that would be proven, but I don't think he's past his best. He's, in terms of the age, he's in his prime. He should be producing his best performances between now and probably the next 3-4 years max. He would be a very good signing for me, and a cheap one as well. It's not one that's going to blow the kitty, whatever the kitty may be, which means there's still money in the bank for us to go and make other important signings, because I don't think one midfielder is going to solve all our problems. It's probably a bit unrealistic for me to say, oh yeah, we need to get 2 or 3 in this January. How often does anyone get 2 or 3 in a January transfer window? It's a very short window. Of course, you should be doing this planning from before the window actually opened, which would make it easier, but it's still a bit unrealistic to get 2 or 3 in a window. 2 will be amazing. 1, I mean, is the bare minimum if we have any hope this season. And Christian Eriksen is the person I'll go for, but it all depends on, well, obviously, firstly, if Ole wants him, and the reports are that he's a target. And secondly, and most importantly, if he wants to join Man United. His options are there. His options are actually limitless because his contract's at the end of the season. If the right club don't come around in this January, he could see out his contract and he could choose any club in the world, and then he'll get the wages that reflects the fact that he was a free agent, and it could be even much more beneficial to him. So Christian Eriksen would be my number 1, but it's unlikely as it stands. There's been reports about a move for James Maddison. You know what I mean? That's no secret. Everyone knows that, well, apparently he's a boyhood Man United fan, but everyone knows that it's been touted that he's a target of Man United for the longest while. And he's definitely a player that I would love to see in a Man United shirt. Premier League player. So there's that. You would hope that the adaptation from one club to another will be minimal because of the fact that it's in the Premier League. Of course, there's other aspects to it, but you're still playing the same league, so that alleviates. You would hope that alleviates that problem. He's young, 22 years old. He's performing consistently for Leicester. Did last season, is now doing this season again. He's been called up for England, but I don't know if he's actually made an England appearance. He may have off the bench, but I can see him being a constant of the England team in years to come. The report is that we made a £45 million bid plus Jesse Lingard. Again, I'm not even sure how credible this source is. Why would Leicester want Lingard? You know, maybe there's a bunch of players at Man United who are actually better than they are looking, but because of everything that's bad at Man United, it's doing them no favour. So Lingard could go there and start thriving. Who knows? But on the basis of it, you have to ask, why would Leicester want Lingard? Who is he better than? Is he better than X, Y, Z? Can they turn down 45 million? I would say yes, they can turn down 45 million. They have their own aspirations this season. The way it's looking, they're trying to get in the Champions League. If they turn down 45 million in January, will 45 million still be on the table in the summer? I bet you it will. He's not getting old. He's coming. He's still very, very raw. So unless he has a massive dip in form or some kind of injury, the 45 million that has been touted now will be there in the summer plus some, because 45 million plus Lingard is about what, 45 million in total. And I'll be very surprised if that fee was enough to prize him away from Leicester at this stage of the season. They're going to want probably somewhere in the 80 million. Which for me is too much. For me, that's too much. I want players at Man United, but for a long time we've been really taken for a ride when it comes to transfers, transfer fees, wages, and it comes to a point where we have to, I'm not saying be tight with the purse strings, but act like a club that says, no, you're coming to us. We are Man United. That player wants to come to us, so we're going to negotiate a fee that suits both of us, not that you've set an extortionate price and we've just succumbed to that whim. The reality is there is a number of players out there of the James Maddison quality. So we shouldn't be held to ransom by Leicester or Maddison or an agent or wherever it may be because we want that player. We can't be that desperate for that one person. Because let's say another club came in for him and they got him. Does that mean we get no one? No, we must have other options. But James Maddison for me will be second on the list behind Eriksen. Of course, I love them both. We actually need massive reinforcements, but he'll be second on my list. And third, Jack Grealish. I like the look of Jack Grealish. Obviously, there's going to be comparisons between Grealish and Maddison. Maddison, Grealish. Who knows which one's actually going to, in the end, become the better player. But they are both so talented. Again, if I could have both, I would. Could you fit both in your team? The likes of Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, James, possibly if you have Grealish possibly coming off one of the wings, because he's not just a central attacking midfielder. He drifts about for Aston Villa. He has that leniency and that authority and the license to roam and make things happen. Of course, at Man United that may be different because you're not the main man anymore. There's a lot of big players or big names or people who have earned their space in that club that you become a cog in that wheel. But it will be a very, very important cog because he's a very, very talented player. Creates and scores goals. He's better than Lingard, better than Mata, damn sure better than Andres Pereira. He would improve us no end. And I would say, I don't know what Aston Villa's financial situation is compared to, I know Leicester. Leicester, their owner is, if not the richest, but the second richest in the Premier League behind the Sheikhs of Man City. I think he's worth about 5 billion, I think it is. So money's not an issue for them. And we saw the hard bargain they drove in the summer over Harry Maguire. But Aston Villa, relegation is a definite possibility. If they were to go down, the cost of Jack Grealish would definitely be less than anything they could get in January. But then you have to ask, if they sell Jack Grealish for whatever money they're selling for, is that them writing themselves back into the Championship next season? Because as it stands, he really looks like their only hope of survival. So in their own interest, for me, I remember it was similar to when Charlie Adam was at Blackpool. And in the end, I think Liverpool wanted him, but I think he said, no, he's going to wait till the end of the season. And they only ended up getting a little bit of money for him because they needed him because they needed to stay up. They didn't stay up in the end and it ended up costing them in more ways than one, in the sense that if they sold him, they would have had the money in the bank at least, but they would definitely be relegated. As it was, they kept him, sold him for less, and still got relegated. It's a risk, but I think it's a risk. If I was Villa, I'd have to take it. I have to say, no, if we sell him, we are writing our obituary, our final rights. We might as well just put the R next to our name and call it relegation as it stands. It would have to be a mammoth offer. And what is that mammoth offer? How much does it cost to stay in the Premier League? How much is a Premier League place really, really worth? Some say 100 million. When you include parachute payments, it's more than that. A Premier League place is nothing to be sniffed at. And if you lose out on 30 million because you kept Jack Grealish for 6 extra months, then at the hope of staying in the Premier League, maybe it's something you have to just bite your tongue and say, well, we tried. If you keep him and you stay up, he's going to be worth even more. If I was Villa, I wouldn't sell him. But, and is he going to push for that move in the middle of the season? I don't know. It doesn't strike me as that kind of player. I think he may want to stay the season with Villa. Unless Villa are willing to sell him in the January. Which means that my 3 top transfer targets are all unlikely. Eriksen, Inter, Leicester have their own aspirations, and Villa need to stay in the Premier League. Why would Eriksen join us, first and foremost? And why would Maddison and Grealish leave at this point? And or why would Leicester and Villa sell at this point? I'm not going to lie, it's looking peak. We're 5 days in. This is the 6th day. All we're hearing is rumours. I said there's a rumour about Bruno Fernandes creeping back up again. How realistic? How realistic is that? If it's possible, why did we not get him in the summer? Those questions need to be asked. We've heard about Gedson Fernandes from Benfica. Falling out of favour with the coach. They're willing to do a 18-month loan with an option to buy for about 34 million. If it's an option, listen, for me, that would be perfect. Now, when I say perfect in terms of, I don't know the player that much. I actually hadn't seen him before I heard of these rumours. 20-year-old coming from Portugal. Everyone can't be Ronaldo. I mean, everyone can't even be Luis Nani. It's not a given, that age, even with what the ability he may have, that he's going to be a success. But if you were to loan him for a year and a half with an option to buy, you cover yourself. You say, well, let's see if he's good enough. And if he is, you pay the money happily. If he's not, you move on. Well, I wouldn't want us to look at Renato Sanchez. He was touted as a massive, massive thing. Could have come to us, didn't, went to Bayern Munich, and his career's fallen off ever since. Ended up at Swansea. I don't even know where he is now. I don't even know. So, January transfers, they have to be, again, we could have been scouting him for how long, I don't know. But it can't be risky signings in January. What are you signing him for? For me, it has to be to make an impact this season. So you kind of have to know what you're getting. And you're going to hope that they're going to hit the ground running. And the 3 transfer targets, Eriksen, Maddison, and Grealish, I think they're perfect. I think they are perfect. And the thing with both Maddison and Grealish, they have 10 years ahead of them if they were to join Man United now. Eriksen, yeah, a bit less, he's 27 years old, but he's in his peak. So if it was up to me, and if I'm playing Football Manager, and I have that power, I'm going Eriksen +1. Eriksen plus maybe Grealish. That would be perfect. So you get the experience, the know-how, and the instant impact of quality, and you get the talent, and the possible future long-term impact at the club. That's what we need to be looking at. And, of course, the rumours about Jadon Sancho, they're still going to be there. I'd be very surprised if Dortmund were to sell in January. He would have to push for that move. But he's going to cost, 100 million? maybe more because it's January, I don't know. So if he is to move, I'll be more expecting that in the summer than in January. But for me, creative central attacking midfield, those, you know, creating through the middle is where our problem lies. We've seen it every week. We see it. The problem, it crops up again, and we realise how much we're lacking there, especially when Pogba doesn't play. And imagine we had Eriksen and Pogba, or a Grealish and Pogba, or Eriksen and Pogba with Grealish on the bench, or anything like that. That's where we need to be at. It shouldn't be one injury and we're fucked. That shouldn't be like that. We're supposed to have options. Look at Man City, they've got options. Apart from at the back, struggling there, innit? But yeah, that's me. Eriksen, Maddison, Grealish, in that order. I'll take 2 out of 3. Heck, I'll take all 3 if they can give us a late Christmas present here at Man United. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on who my 3 targets would be in this January, how likely you think those are to happen, or any other targets you would like to see join Man United this month, this January transfer window. Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you soon.